Hello from Napa Valley once again. First question of the day. How do you recognize a tourist in a wine region? By the red teeth. Especially in Napa Valley and in Sonoma Valley, the focus is mostly on red wines. So when it comes to wine tastings, you usually have a bigger percentage of red wines. And after the third or fourth red wine, your teeth start changing the color from, let's say, bright white to a different type of white, sometimes even brownish. It's definitely a bad idea to brush the teeth straight afterwards because it might hurt the cover of your teeth. So beware of that and maybe just walk around for an hour or so or have something to eat. And afterwards, it could be a good idea to brush your teeth. Just if you want to walk outside and you don't want people staring at you like, day drinking, huh? In addition, California is also the paradise for alcohol-free products. Even the smallest supermarkets have a quite big portfolio of alcohol-free products, and I'm not talking about water and sodas. I'm talking about tea, I'm talking about kombucha. Kombucha is huge in California. Alcohol-free beer. We did an alcohol-free beer tasting. Video is coming probably in a couple of days when I finish cutting, probably on the airplane back home. And wine. The wine is mostly dominated by big brands such as Gießen from New Zealand. We talked about them as well. So if you want to experience alcohol-free products, California might be a good address actually. So if you are in the area, watch out for some great products. There's even local producers I spotted, especially in the beer section. Today, we'll talk about alcohol-free stuff. We'll talk about big brands. And after many weeks of a break, the Celebrity Corner is back. And now we won't talk about who it is. Stay until the end of the episode. Have fun. Welcome to the Pinot and Pixel podcast episode number 186. This is the last weekly update recorded in the United States. Next week, I will be back in Germany. So maybe there's a little time difference of 1 or 2 hours when it comes to the upload because internet is not available everywhere for German tourists. Today we will talk about alcohol-free, and we start directly with the development of alcohol-free drinks at airports. And I mean, I'm on vacation right now, and for me it's not a usual thing to go on holidays to drink and have kind of an excuse for day drinking or so. The airport of Manchester has reported a huge rise in pre-flight pints on the airport. And it's not only the alcohol-free category that is growing, it's also, let's say, healthier food. So the vegetarian and especially the vegan products saw also a big increase. And this is basically, well, according to the trend, matching the trend that people are watching or more focusing on healthier lifestyles, not only moderate drinking, but also maybe eating healthier. I mean, people still go on holidays, but they don't want to freak out anymore. There's still an amount of people that order their drinks, their spirits, their cocktails, and maybe a bit too much every now and then. But they definitely feel a shift towards healthier drinks and healthier food. And it's, I mean, talking about percentages, for example, when we talk about food, the vegan chili saw a rise by 167%. The vegan hot dog at Manchester's Lions and Envelope is up 90%. Talking about alcohol-free products or beers, there is a 16.9% increase airport year on year. And when we talk to Stansted, it's even a 45% increase of alcohol-free products. And then, of course, what is also under the umbrella of healthier lifestyle is replacing your dairy products with dairy-free products. For example, oat milk grew by 60%, soy milk per 17%, and coconut products or milk by 13%. So there is a bigger focus on alcohol-free stuff, on healthier lifestyles, healthier food, and maybe this is more a trend in Central Europe. I mean, currently we're talking about England, but I think if we would ask people, I don't know, at Paris airport, or let's say at least the airports that are usually bringing people to holidays, so where the focus is more on holiday instead of, I don't know, business trips or so, I guess we will definitely see a rise as well. Talking about alcohol-free products, Heineken made a nice move, an interesting move, perfectly timed with the US Open in the United States. They released a love connection of their 0.0 beer for the market and also for being served at the US Open. Heineken has been a partner for over 3 decades of the US Open, and basically this is an interesting article because, I mean, it's not only one more big brand pushing in marketing and having a special edition when it comes to alcohol-free products. And I guess it's more a branding. It's not a different taste or so. It's just the branding of the can. Last year, we talked about the big partnership of a spirits company with the US Open, and that this doesn't feel right because it's a sport. Tennis is still a sport, and sport and alcohol is a weird connection every now and then, especially when it's high alcohol. And this year, besides all the other sponsors, they by the way, Heineken is not a sponsor. They have a partnership with the US Open. This is what they want to have. This is what they have been focusing on, and this is also what they are playing out this year. And it's not only branding a can and saying, okay, this is for the US Open. They also invited 2 very famous players for their marketing campaign. It's Taylor Fritz and Morgan Riddle, so one male, one female, and they say this is perfect match for our lifestyle because, I mean, we are professional players. We usually don't drink alcohol. We don't want to drink alcohol, and this is our perfect match, and it's definitely the better pairing for a sports event such as the US Open. And we will definitely see a rise of the sales afterwards, I guess, because, I mean, the US Open is not only a sports event, is one of the biggest sports events in the United States. It's seen worldwide on TV screens and on the internet streams, of course. And this gives your brand a way bigger visibility. Next news, when we talk about alcohol-free or at least no-low products. You might recognize the name Lucas Matthys. There was a previous episode on this podcast where we had an interview with Lucas Matthys, who is going to launch his alcohol-free or at least no-low shop, so focused on low and non-alcoholic products in Austria, in Vienna. And he did that in the mid of August. And right now, from August 19th on, you will be able to taste and buy his products every Friday and Saturday in Vienna. And the online shop is open as well. A very interesting possibility to dive deeper into the alcohol-free category. Why? It's not only wine, it's not beer, it's everything focused on enjoyment and higher quality. I mean, there's also entry-level easy drinking stuff, but especially the selection that Lucas made is focused on food pairing, on special occasions, on giving you quite a broad overview over the categories and giving you at least 1 or 2 products that would definitely suit your palate and your occasion. We'll put the link in the show notes, and I saw some posts on Instagram of the launch and it was a big success. Fatsa was there to document it, and his partner, his girlfriend, is also a sommelier of the year, and of course she helped him with serving the wines or the products. It's not wines, guys, it's alcohol-free products. Yeah. So if you are in Vienna, have a look, and if you're not in Vienna or in the area, just look at the website. Maybe you find your perfect product to pair with without alcohol, or maybe at least with a lower amount of alcohol. From a great business idea in Austria to another one that I discovered in the United States. Every now and then there were farmer markets. In farmer markets, usually the idea is from farm to fork. So there is farmers offering their product directly, so higher margins. It's usually cheaper for us customers. And of course also this feeling, usually in the United States there is music, there is games. There was a zucchini race. That was quite weird, actually. And what I also discovered were lemonade stands. And this is not unusual for the US, but it's unusual that it is sold by adults. Usually lemonade stands are made for children, just to get some more money to buy your, I don't know, toys or drinks or whatever you want. But in the US, it's becoming a big business having a lemonade stand. And Then I did some research on that and I found an article on the Microsoft website. Not just for kids anymore, adults turn lemonade stands as side hustles. And there is actually $1 million business industry behind. And there is some interviews, I put the link in the show notes, with 3 or 4 people that started with this very, very small lemonade stand, saying, I was in debt and I had to earn some money, so I bought some cheap lemonade, I bought some aromas on the internet, I mixed them up like alcohol-free cocktails, sold them on the streets, sold them during festivals, on farmers markets, and it brings me between $2,000 and $6,000 per event. I guess this is a thing for the US, because at least it feels like this is more a part of the culture over here than it might be in Central Europe, because we are usually not super focused on sugary lemonade. But I guess there might be the possibility to adapt this to Central Europe, maybe with alcohol-free drinks or so. And if you have a farmer's market in a city with, I don't know, 100,000 inhabitants and many, many tourists, this is definitely an option. And many of those people in the interview told the story that they started this as a side hustle, and right now they are focusing on doing this 100%, because with 4 to 5 events they have so much money that both people of a couple do not have to work and they definitely can feed their families. That's crazy, isn't it? So if you don't know what to do, it could also be a lemonade stand to start your first own side hustle and then growing it to a business. And maybe one day it will end up in an alcohol-free store in a bigger city, like Lucas did it in Vienna. Talking about alcohol consumption, let's go to the business news. There's an article from Ireland stating that in the last 20 years, the alcohol consumption in Ireland fell by 31%, so almost 1/3 less. The peak was in 2001, and since then it has been decreasing over time, and there's many reasons for that. People are drinking more moderately, people are drinking differently, and the interesting thing is, I mean, usually they look at 4 categories, especially in Ireland. They look at beer, cider, spirits, and wine, and beer, cider, and spirits were decreasing. And wine, especially in the last 2 years, saw an increase. So maybe there's a shift from just easy drinking wine, cider, or just getting drunk with spirits to wine. But there's also, of course, a cheap category of wine. So maybe they just replaced it or so. Definitely, you'll see a shift from one category to another. And you see that the people are drinking moderately. Beer still accounts for 43% in total for total sales. Wine is sitting around 28%, spirits 23%, and cider 6%. Cider is actually quite big in Ireland. It's not comparable with, for example, Germany. Maybe in France it's a bit bigger, in the UK as well, I guess. I don't know if it is a thing over here in the United States. We are seeing this decrease quite big actually in Ireland, and I won't say that Ireland had an alcohol problem, but there were many people not only in the wine and drinks industry that claimed that there might have been a problem, but definitely the government invested a lot of effort, especially with specific labels, with government warnings and awareness campaigns on alcohol consumption. And maybe this paid out right now, and they have a 31% decline in alcohol consumption. We stay in the UK. No, it's not Northern Ireland, it's Ireland. We stay on the island. Britain's oldest brewer launches an English wine. And this is so interesting in 2 different ways. First of all, because it's very, very big names. It's Shepherd Neame and Balfour Winery that have a collaboration right now and that are showcasing their wines, launching their products together. And secondly, because over the last, I would say, 10 weeks on this podcast, we were talking about the chances of cross collaborations, so cross sector, cross category, beer and wine, cider and beer, stuff like that, just to grow with each other, to support each other, especially in England, where people want to focus more on high quality, more on enjoyment, and also want to get rid of this getting drunk image that is still existing, especially in the UK and the bigger cities, and that cross collaborations might be a good idea. And this is the next one after the ones we had on the podcast with Tommy Grimshaw, for example, talking about grape-infused craft beers. And this is the next move where the oldest brewer partnered up with Balfour Wines and will publish their wine collection. I guess it's 2 wines. It's a white and a rosé, if I remember it correctly. Yeah, it's a Bacchus and a still white and a still rosé, both produced by Fergus Elias from Balfour Winery, and it's called the English Garden. Yeah, I mean, it's a beautifully designed label, basically made for the shelf, I guess, for retail, and it suits this easy drinking approach. And of course, it also wants to bring English wines on the shelves in retail, giving a bigger visibility, better visibility for English wine. And this is also what Fergus said on the interview. And I like the idea. I really like it. And I mean, Shepherd Neame is also famous for partnering with other big brands, and is also famous especially for its Spitfire Amber, the beer that is carrying the royal warrant. So they know what they are doing, and this is one more bigger partnership, cross collaboration in the wine industry. In that case, in the UK, might be a good idea in your market if you're not from the UK as well. What could turn out to be a bad idea is the suggestion of the mayor of Bordeaux, Pierre Urmic, who says, I want to ban cruise ships from Bordeaux because they are ugly, they stink, they pollute the environment, people don't like it, and we have to get rid of them. And of course, I mean, the cruise ships are a very big part, a very significant part of the tourist industry in Bordeaux. And of course, they push the cellar door sales in the wineries, they push the sales and of course the visits of the museum, La Cité du Vin, very, very beautifully made, designed museum in Bordeaux, in the city center. And right now he wants to get rid of the ships. And of course, there's many people, especially from the industry, saying this might be a bad idea, my man, because they are responsible for many sales, and also, of course, because they want to visit Bordeaux, the city center, and the wineries. Because the suggestion of the mayor is, let's, I don't know, stop the cruise ships far north, maybe the entrance of the channel or so, and then have like water taxis going up and down a couple of times a day, shuttling the tourists to the city center. And the industry says maybe not the best idea, because the cruise ships, I mean, they come to see Bordeaux and not a shitty beach in the northern part of the Bordeaux area and then sitting 1 hour on a water taxi to drive to Bordeaux, to ride down the Bordeaux. We will see how this will pay out. For me personally, it's not a bad idea actually. Of course, you have to think about the industry, but the suggestion sounds logical to me. And there might be other solutions, and at least they're limited the visits of cruise ships in Bordeaux, I guess last year, to a maximum amount of 40 visits per year. So it is less than 1 ship per week. And I mean, there is a couple of hundred people on that ship. I don't know if you can manage that with water taxis, but I mean, if you can shift or decrease the pollution and also can achieve that the city gets brighter, more beautiful, and attracts maybe more tourists because there is less ships, it would definitely be a good idea. And of course, you have to balance the loss in sales to the cellar door sales, but maybe there's another option, maybe more healthier one for the environment. Maybe you can use electric boats. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm not a technician in that specific sector, but there might be other solutions. To me, it sounds like a good idea to have less mass tourism. Cruise ships might also be part of the next story. We have talked about many, many bottles of champagne that have been found underwater after the ship sank, I don't know, 150 years ago, and they might be of a very, very good condition and very, let's say, valuable bottles. A group of divers off the Spanish island of Mallorca discovered a seabed with thousands of bottles of champagne. But those were already drunk. It's just the rubbish of 20 years of stupid people throwing their bottles into the ocean while celebrating, while, I don't know, getting drunk, or maybe being drunk and the bottle falls over, I don't know. It was thousands of bottles. It was over 450 kilos, half a ton. 80% of which was glass. And the funny thing is, there were also some sealed bottles and some treasures under that, but in total it was just beer, wine, champagne bottles, and this is bad, guys. This is bad. I mean, if you want to drink wine on a boat, take with you what you brought with you. This is something I read on many parking sites over here, many beaches as well, and some people act like this and some people don't. Please don't be an idiot. Take your stuff with you. From one celebration to another, a Michelin star restaurant celebrates its 30th birthday in a very crazy way, because they will offer a menu with the prices of 1994. It's a Michelin star restaurant, the Smith-Seals restaurant St. John, and they will have, I guess, 4 or 5 different dishes on the menu of the prices of 30 years ago. Meaning that a salad, a parsley salad, is sitting on the menu for $4.20 compared to $16 today. Tripe and onions will be $7.80. Welsh rarebit, $3.50. Today usually $10.50. So it's probably 25 to 30% of today's prices. And of course it's not the whole menu. And of course they also excluded the wines. Because I guess some people were hoping that, I mean, when I went to the restaurant in 1994, there might have been some good bottles from the 70s and 80s from Bordeaux or Burgundy on the list. And yeah, what they did is they didn't stock up in old vintages, in rare vintages of old wines. What they did is they made a wine list with many of the wines from the winemakers that the restaurant worked with in 1994. So this is an honor for 30 years of partnership, of long-lasting support. Great idea, actually. And I mean, having a glass of St. John Claret Crémant, $38, and a glass for almost $9, $10 is totally fine, I would say, for a Michelin star restaurant. So unfortunately, when you are hearing this, you won't be able to get a spot because they have been sold out. But if you are one of the lucky persons, let me know. Send me an email, podcast@pinotpixel.com, and tell me how it was. Take some pictures, I don't know, link me on Instagram. I'm definitely interested how this went out. And right now, after, I guess, 2 months break, the Celebrity Corner is back. And I mean, who else? There's probably 2 different, let's say, people or groups who could reintroduce this category after a 2 months break. It's either Brangelina, but they still have their war going on, and I don't want to talk about that until it has finally been settled. Or, as I call them, Beyoncé. And this time it's Beyoncé. Beyoncé has teamed up with LVMH on an American whiskey brand honoring her great-grandfather. He was a moonshine maker, and this is why she called it Sir Davis, after her great-grandfather. And they will publish this American whiskey sitting on the shelf for $89. It's a blend of 51% rye and 49% malted barley, finished in sherry cask. Sounds actually quite delicious. And she partners up with LVMH. I mean, they are focused on wine and beer. I won't say focused, they are experienced in wine and spirits. There's many brands under the umbrella of LVMH. Of course, we talked about that. They saw a decrease of 7% in total on the category of wine and spirits. The division fell by 7%. And maybe Beyoncé will be able to push the sales for LVMH again. We will see next year. And last but not least, from music to cinema. There's 2 news when it comes to cinema this week. First of all, the great story of The Widow Clicquot is coming to movie theaters. They will start in the UK August 23rd, so today actually. And it's a movie that tells the absolute fantastic story of how she became one of the leading people in the industry in champagne, and basically started one of the most impressive, most successful brands in champagne, maybe even on the planet when it comes to the wine industry, in a very special way. So if you're interested in that story and that history, look out for the movie. The main actress is Hailey Bennett as Widow Clicquot, I always say worth because it's a French word, as Widow Clicquot in the movie. And I read some critiques. I don't want to spoil anything, so please, if you spot it and you're interested in wine and you want to hear a very, very crazy story, go to cinemas, watch that movie and have fun. And last but not least, this is so much fun, and I even was thinking about staying 2 weeks longer in the United States. Last episode 183. I talked about the story, about the history and the places involved in the movie Sideways of 2004. If you haven't seen Sideways, you should definitely do that. It's almost everywhere, so just find your way to purchase the movie. Sideways, the movie, is turning 20 years, and the Hitching Post is the famous restaurant and the bar where Miles used to go, what he called his second office. And the Hitching Post is celebrating 20 years of Sideways with winemakers dinners, with special events in Buellton in California. This is also the village where I recorded my podcast 1.5 weeks ago, actually. And it's a great opportunity to get this Sideways feeling again. And actually, I'm a bit sad that it is happening in 2 weeks and not right now, because I would definitely go up to Buellton again to be part of one of those events. They will serve the Highliner, the very, very famous Pinot Noir red from the movie, as well as created signature menu for the event. There will be some other events as well. Put the link in the show notes. If you're in the area, this could be an absolutely fantastic evening for you and maybe your partner. This is it for this week. I hope you had fun. If you like what you hear, recommend this podcast to a friend, to a colleague. Let me know what you think about it. And right now, have a great weekend. See you on Wednesday. Ciao, ciao.